Welcome to our virtual training of the Transportation Outreach Planner. Um, I'm so excited to have this opportunity to have a virtual training. We've always done this physical in-person training at one of the labs at FIU with Jennifer and her team. In the situation that we're in the time of COVID-19, we are doing a virtual training, and maybe this is something we will start doing moving forward, because I think, Jennifer, it allows for more people to show up. I'm very impressed with the amount of people that we're going to be speaking to today. Usually our trainings are limited, so very excited to have everybody joining us this morning. My name is Elizabeth Rockwell. I am the Chief Communications Officer for the Miami-Dade TPO, and again, welcome and good morning. Next slide. So we're going to go over the rules of engagement. We have scheduled a 2-hour session, but that is based on our prior knowledge of an in-session and in-person session. So I don't know if it's going to take 2 hours this morning. It may be quicker, but we have scheduled up to 2 hours if that is warranted. The training session is being recorded. So Ivan, so if you ever hear us say Ivan, he is our tech support, and also Kevin is also on tech support for Jennifer, and we have Ivan and Kevin in back doing tech support. So if you hear Jennifer or I ever say Ivan, we need help, you know what that's about. So Ivan is going to be ensuring that this training session is recorded, and so that if anyone has missed the training and wants to watch it again, we will be uploading it to our YouTube channel. So we do have chat available, so during specific slides. If Jennifer is talking about something and you want a little bit more clarification on that, please feel free to use the chat feature. However, be aware that, if it's a general question, we would prefer that you wait till the Q&A session at the very end, where we'll have a raise hand feature, and you'll be able to talk to Jennifer and I during that session. So if you see on your right-hand side, you have a raise hand, that will be at the very end. Next slide. So I'm going to go over a little history and background for the Transportation Outreach Planner, or the TOP. This tool came about in 2001 as a result of the 2001 federal certification of the Miami-Dade MPO. At the time, it was the Metropolitan Planning Organization. We are at the TPO now. There were some issues, with this federal certification in 2001, and the feds wanted some more robust public involvement to be incorporated into the Miami-Dade MPO. And unfortunately, there were some corrective actions that were issued to the MPO at the time. So over the next 2 years, between 2001, after that Fed cert, until 2003, a public involvement plan was developed, a separate public involvement plan was developed to address the issues raised during the federal certification. FHWA in 2003 had some suggestions, and one of them was to hire more staff for the public involvement program, and that's when I was hired. I was hired in 2003 as the public involvement manager, and then I hired Paul Chance, who many of you know, as the public involvement officer 6 months later. So both Paul and I were brought in 2003, and I would be remiss if I don't say we have Regina Serrano with us as well, who I think started about 4 years ago with us. But back in 2003, Paul and I were hired to address these corrective actions. And one of the corrective actions was to address the social cultural effects of the community of Miami-Dade County. So we were told, okay, well, you can work. We have FIU, the Metropolitan Center, that's on board that can help us with this project. And at first, this is in 2003, so this is 17 years ago, and time flies. Um, but back then, we started working with the Metropolitan Center, and we figured, okay, this is just going to be something that's going to be on my computer and Paul's computer, and we're just going to access this information locally, and if not paper. So we started working on that with the Metropolitan Center, and then the Metropolitan Center said, well, we have a great GIS center. We need to bring them in. And I was like, okay, GIS. And this is, again, almost 20 years ago. So I'm like, what is this? So they brought Jennifer Fu in, who you see there. She's the head of the GIS Center for the Florida International University. And she changed our world. She said, Elizabeth, we could do so much more with this. And she got very excited about it. And I said, okay. And she said, we could make this web-based. Web-based, what does that mean? Like, what is all this? Again, this is almost 20 years ago. So we take for granted today what we have in front of us. We have all these tools and all these online capabilities, but back almost 17 years ago, that just didn't exist, or it was in its infancy. So I was very proud to have both the Metropolitan Center and the GIS centers to be very proactive, future thinking, and to take us on this journey. So the background of the Transportation Outreach Planner is that it is a web-based tool. It is used by all of you. So everyone on here can use this all across the country, all across the world. And so it's not just this tool that's held on my computer. It's open to everybody. And that, I thank FIU and Jennifer for taking us down that road, and I appreciate that. So the background is, again, it's a web-based tool. We have 3 main sections. And Jennifer is going to go into this, so I'm just going to touch on it. We have the customized demographics report, which she will go through and touch upon that. We have FDOT's has their primary and secondary layers. And Jennifer has incorporated all of those layers as suggested by FDOT and the feds into the tool. So she'll go through that. We also have a second component. So it all started off with just the customized demographic reports. And then a few years later, we came up with the community background reports. And again, we have almost about, I think, 110 CBRs, Jennifer, for Miami-Dade County. And so that's extensive. We have, an overview of each community, each municipality, then the neighborhoods on the neighborhood level, on the very local level. So we have a community background report, I think, on every single little nook and cranny in the entire in the entire county. And that has been taken some time to keep that up to date. So we work on that diligently. The last part is the public outreach strategies. And that also came on board with the customized demographics reports. And how we started that is I tasked Jennifer and her team with basically doing a country-wide search of all of the best practices. And this is back in about 2004, 2005. And she and her team did, along with the Metropolitan Center, did an extensive search throughout the country of all of the best practices at the time. And we incorporated all of those strategies into this program. Now, of course, things change. We move forward, strategies come in, they go out, and so that's what has happened. And I'm sure we're going to be getting a lot more strategies as a result of what we've been going through just recently. So, and if you see the strategies and you want to add any strategies and you think we're missing something, please always email Jennifer and I will add them, and that's something that's always, it's extremely dynamic. We're always updating them. And then, it's important to remember too that we have different types of strategies, that we have low tech and high tech. I know everybody focuses on high tech, but it's amazing. What's the keep it simple? Yeah, sometimes doing the low tech can be just as important. It also helps with, Title VI and helping individuals with different types of demographics. And that's the importance of this program, is to find out what your demographics are and then to utilize the correct strategies. So for instance, if you're going into your demographic report says that it's a low literacy community, you don't want to make people sign in when they're walking in. You want to kind of be more, come up to them with a clipboard and say, oh, hi, how are you? Can I take your name and your information, because they may not feel comfortable and might not be able to write their name. So we have to be very sensitive and understanding of that. And that's how this program helps to help us to help them. And also, I would be remiss in saying, and I believe Rusty Animaso is on and listening. This also complements the FDOT's ETDM process, efficient transportation decision making. While our tool was being developed through the years, the FDOT has been also doing their ETDM process, and our social cultural effects can assist them and help them with their ETDM process, which is a whole other process I won't get into. But that we're happy that this complements their program as well. Next slide. So how do you access the tool? So there's two ways that you can do that. You can go directly to, and Jennifer's going to show the address again when she starts, but you could go directly to the tool. And there's the web address. You can copy that and go ahead and bookmark it in your browser, or you can go to our website, miamidadetpo.org. We can navigate along the top to the Tools tab, but there are distractions in there. There's a lot of really good tools in there. So our tool is at the very bottom of the list. So as you're going down, you may get distracted from other tools that are also available. So distractions do await if you do go, but they're good distractions and they're great tools that I would encourage you to also check out on your way down to our tool at the very bottom. Next slide. So again, I want to thank you all for being here with us today. Again, my name is Elizabeth Rockwell, and Jennifer Fu is here with us. She's again from FIU. She's the head of the GIS Center. Jennifer and I have been together for almost 17 years working on this project, and it has taken many turns and it has evolved. So I'm very proud of what she has done with her team. And I would be remiss, I want to bring this up also. Jennifer has through the years, and that's what another reason this is so important that this is being developed with FIU, is Jennifer takes the opportunity to have her students to work on this program as well. So it's not just the professionals that are working on this tool. We are also having hands-on opportunities for students to see this tool, to access the tool, to make changes to the tool. And I know that was very prevalent in the very beginning. We had a lot of student activity on the tool. So thank you again for being here. I'm going to turn off my camera so you have Jennifer all to yourself, but I am available if there's any questions. Thank you so much. And Jennifer, we're going to go ahead and transfer over the screen. Ivan's going to transfer over controls over to Jennifer, so just give us a second. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome. Can you see my screen of the Transportation Outreach Planner?
we see the calendar.
You see the calendar. Okay. Let me.
There it is.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for your introduction, and thank everyone for taking your time and joining me with this workshop. Elizabeth has provided a wonderful, thorough introduction to this tool and the program. So without further ado, I'm going to go into these tool sets and introduce you the functions and different components. So once again, the purpose and clientele for this tool is really to provide transportation and urban planners to get a better picture of the local community's social, economic, transportation, historical background and characteristics. And it is a geospatial enabled decision-making toolkit. Therefore, of course, GIS is very prominent in these components. Elizabeth has mentioned there are three main components. The first one is customized demographic report, and that is an interactive report, allow users to extract and select different variety of geographies to get census demographic data. The second one is community background reports, and that has evolved into a combination of text description and interactive mapping components. And public outreach strategies is also a interactive tool that based upon those previous two components to make recommendations of what strategies are best suited for a given community. So now in the customized demographic reports, I want to emphasize there are three different levels of geographies that you can choose and extract your information. The first one is actually census places, and that includes municipalities, towns, and villages. And the second one, neighborhoods. That is certain neighborhoods not particularly defined by census, but very unique to our local Miami-Dade community. And the third one is the smallest geographic unit, that is the census block groups. And users can select different census block groups as if you're playing with Lego pieces to form your own area of interest. So now I take you to the main screen. This is a screenshot, and right now I'm not going to go on my live ones yet. Just go through all the functions, and then we will take a few minutes to navigate online. So customized demographic reports, you can access either from the top menu or there's a icon says Explore Now. Once you go in there, it takes you to a map interface. Now, for those audience who are a little bit techy, this we have built using mashup of Google and ArcGIS server. So when you look at the first screen that you see are the three counties in South Florida. And if you click on one county, it will go to one county. But without click any of these counties, you simply go to Show and Demographics. What you will get is a summary table of all data for 3 counties at the county level. And when you click on different fields, it will sort that particular field for you. Now, when you need to select detailed geography beyond the county, you have to select the county first. So in this case, we select Miami-Dade County by clicking on the map. Once you selected, the area will be shaded. And when you click on Miami-Dade County and you click on Show Demographics, what you will see is a summary infographics format of the entire county's demographic data. And we show it by counts and percentage. Now I go to the 3 levels of geography as data containers here. So first, let's select census places right here. This is my tool to select geography, and this is my tool to display different content. When you select census places, you notice this box is very important because it actually takes you step by step. It also explains what you see on the screen. So when you select census places in this box, it tells you different colors of lines. It's giving you different types of census places that you're looking at. And they include city, town, village, and census-defined places. So in this case, we're going to look at, let's say, Hialeah and Miami Lakes. And we wanted to, if we're doing projects in that area and we want to get a better understanding of the demographic composition of that area, then we select just by clicking on Hialeah and Miami Lakes on the map, and then go to Show Content and click on Demographics. Then you will see a long report popping up. But before I go to that demographic report dashboard, I wanted to explain the different functionalities that's within this dashboard. This is not a static one, it is also interactive. So first of all, you will see this demographic report is a sum of Hialeah plus Miami Lakes together. And then you see this navigation help box again. And these are the hyperlinks that can take you to different sections of this demographic dashboard. You can navigate back to the map if you decide to pick a different area, or maybe take Miami Lakes out, or choose a different geography. Or if you're happy with this whole report, I can show the full report. This is only the first page. You can save them into these 2 different formats for you to incorporate in your other work. And if you have the full report, you decided to look at what strategy is appropriate based upon this demographic composition, you can click on that. It will take you to strategies, which I will elaborate later. So in addition to that, this whole section of the graphs is actually interactive. And we have, at the city level, incorporated census data from 1970 on. So you can see changes over time. And I don't believe there are other demographic tools that has illustrated retrospective data in such way. So we can, when you click on age, race, any of these buttons here, the graph will change as well. And I will display that live later. And notice that when you select geography, automatically it will compare the selected area with the county and with the state. So you have an idea of where your area of interest stands compared to the larger units of geography. And we do have up to the 2015 American Community Survey data. We did extract 2018 American Community Survey data, but since we are taking this whole tool into a new platform now, and that new platform is not in production yet. Now, the demographic data categories initially was based upon SDOT's recommendation for transportation planning. And we have included population, race, ethnicity, age, and education income. These are some of the very default demographic variables. Later on, as we grew and as user community keep on giving us feedback, we have added more. And they include language spoken at home, employment, disability, foreign-born, housing, and so on, including transportation, mean miles driven vehicles, means of transportation to work, and travel time. Now, we have just gone through the census places, that is municipality, towns, and villages. You can go to smaller geographic entity, as I mentioned before, and form your own area of interest. So the next few slides, I will show you that. So let's pretend that we're doing a project north of Miami International Airport. And then I'm interested in, my demographic profile and composition in this area. What you will do is use your mouse, actually click on each one of these census block groups, okay? And then once you formed your area of interest based upon census block groups, you will then go to Show and click on Demographics again. And this is what you get. It tells you what you're looking at covers these number of census block groups. That's the total of all the values add together of these blocks. And you can export into a CSV file. And I know probably some of our transportation planners use the census data, including the American Fact Finder and other sources, but oftentimes extracting these data can be very complicated and difficult. So this is a very user-friendly and visual way of extracting them if you want to use the raw data. And if you just want to use a ready-to-use report to insert in your technical reports or writing, and you can just download this entire file into a PDF and load it into your report. Now, another function of this tool, in addition to getting to know your community, is to say, okay, now I know my community is largely Spanish-speaking or Portuguese-speaking people, and I need to find a place for them to meet. So we have included a point of interest to identify public meeting places and outreach locations. So again, you can just go to once you are in the Miami-Dade County geography, go to the Show Content and click on Point of Interest. And then we have these categories of point of interest. And right now what I show on the screen is just the city hall, okay? We also have colleges and community center, and oftentimes even included professional organizations and neighborhood associations that has public meeting spaces. And of course, when you click on these icons on the map, it will give you the contact information. Now, in the content section, we later on, again, based upon the feedbacks from Elizabeth and the interaction with folks who took the workshop previously, we have added on limited English proficiency, elderly, and land cover classification maps. So this is a visual of the limited English proficiency. And you may wonder, why are these block groups not showing any data? Because obviously this is an airport, and typically means there's no population data assigned to these groups, or not significant ones. That's why they're not showing on the screen. So not surprisingly, you see along Route 27 is where our foreign language section is. And elderly has a different distribution, you see. It's more along 41, this area. So this is a land cover and land use classification, and it has really high resolution. And typically, if you want to identify vegetation and built environment, this is very useful. And we also have incorporated this part in the reporting as well as the community background report for each municipality. And detailed report of this land classification has a access point. If you click on this one, you will see the actual report in this repository at FIU. And this land cover classification was done in 2015. And good news is that we just recently received funding from American Forest and Miami-Dade Park and Recreational Services to do a 2020 update.
Good morning, Jennifer. If I may interject, we received a question from an audience member. How often is the demographic information updated? Okay,
as we know, census is only taking place once every 10 years. However, the American Community Survey data, which is a sort of substitute to census data, we have we're hoping once every 3 years in this program. So 2013, 2015, now the next one is 2018. Again, we wait for whatever that's available from the Census Bureau. And when they have their new data coming out, we try to incorporate the most current data onto our platform. And the most current one right now in this interface, we incorporate 2015 American Community Survey data. Okay, so before I go to the second component of American Community Reports, I'm gonna just take a few minutes and go live to show you the interactive report. So now I'm on this website, and if you have this link, feel free to play on your own computer. So let's click on Customized Demographic Report. Now you see these 3 counties. And we're gonna go to Miami-Dade County, okay? And we're going to census places. As I mentioned, your help box is constantly updated, and it actually tells you what to do next, okay? And the functions, it also explains additional functions in this box. For example, if you right-click or double-click on one of the polygons, it will show the population of that area right away without you going into the report. So let's click on Hialeah, and let's show. You can show all of these things there, but we're going to show the demographics. So this was the interactive charts I mentioned. You notice that when I mouse over each point of these charts by its decades, it also shows me the number on that point for this particular one. In this case, it's age, okay? And if I click on ethnicity, and if I click on education, so Hialeah, you notice it's really interesting how it grew over time. And income is actually increasing and plateaued from 2000 to 2010. Actually, this is the owner and renter occupant, and this is income. So, gives you a very vivid way of looking at the community's change over time. And then it compares the Hialeah to Miami-Dade County. When it comes to American Community Survey data, I mentioned the sort of a substitute. This is because American Community Survey data is not a real census. Therefore, the sample size is very small. Because of the size of the sample, the margin of error for certain criteria can be very large. So this MOE here explains margin of error for these variables, okay? Yeah.
Jennifer, Jennifer, I want to interject. This is Elizabeth. I also, so everybody knows, some time ago, Jennifer and her team only had the information to the left, all numbers and text. I challenged her because I'm more of a visual person. I'm not a numbers person, and you'll find that in your office. There's numbers people and there's visual. I'm more visual, so I challenged her. Jennifer, can you please take this information all to the left and put it in a visual aspect for me to the right? So if you look at the column or the rows, so let's stop right there, Jennifer, let's say. So if you look at one of these like language, you have all of this data, but over to the right, then she has 3 graphics. So she's taken all of that information and put it in a graphical visual for us, for those of us who like to look at things in graphs and visually. So I asked her to have fun with that and to provide that to us for those who prefer visuals. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you for pointing that out. So in other words, this output is really ready for you to copy and paste and use right away. And as I mentioned previously, it's very long. You see, we have included all the criteria I discussed. So I think I have covered most of the functionalities in this dashboard. So now we will have time at end of this tutorial, at end of this session, for you to play, and I will answer questions as you are navigating. So right now, I would, I know some of you are probably playing with it, and I would like you to pause a little bit, and then I wanted to illustrate all the functionalities of this program so that you don't miss out anything, okay? So I'm gonna minimize this one now. and go back to the second component of the community background reports. Now, the community background reports are meant to supplement the demographic statistics with sort of, a fabric and the what's going on in the community for real beyond the numbers. So we did a lot of research on that community and looked at the events, looked at the business landscape, the community dynamics, transportation characteristics, which buses go through there, and all their unique needs in all those aspects. So again, you can access this directly from the web page simply by click on community background reports. And as I illustrated earlier, you can also access that from our customized demographic reports when you selected a municipality or a neighborhood. So in this case, you select Miami-Dade County, municipalities, and I do want to point out that we have a star next to some of these reports. In this case, it's all of the municipality reports. These are the ones that we updated since 2017. As of now, we're still updating them because it takes a long time to update these reports. So when you go in there, the updated one is one that incorporated other interactive mapping components, whereas the ones without a star, they're a static PDF file, and they, for what it's worth now, the background information is still valid, the historical background information. So this is what a community background report looks like now. So when you click on a neighborhood, a census place, a town, a village, or a municipality, the map will go into that area right away. And what's included here is some of the basic infrastructure that is interesting or unique to this community that I think a transportation planner would be interested. For instance, your bicycle facility routes, okay, the bikeable streets or facilities, your transit, the real-time traffic, limited English, elderly, as I mentioned before, the land use classification type. And this one is very interesting, is to home or to work hotspot maps. And these two functions allow you to identify roughly where people work and where people travel to home. So in addition to that, we have the text narratives on history. Again, this screen is too short, so I only captured part of it. And then community dynamics, business landscape, and transportation characteristics, together with all the data sources and references that's used for this report. So again, we can go to look at one of them. So as I mentioned, you can navigate this directly on the main page and click on Miami-Dade, click on municipality, and let's take a look at the city of Miami. So let's take a look at this interesting feature. This is to home, and this is to work. So right away we can identify these are the high employer hotspots. Okay, this is where people travel to work. Okay, so let's also look at, for example, the cyclable routes, basically. These are the ones either with sidewalks or facilities where people can use their bicycle. So now I think the pedestrian and bicycle planning becomes more and more relevant, especially, I don't know whether you guys noticed, due to the COVID-19, I am so happy and thrilled to see so many cyclists on roads. And I noticed the cars are also becoming more aware of them. And this is a very positive change. So in this case, it's very detailed. You can see very, of course, we have numbers associated to this as well. Detailed land cover classification of Miami-Dade County. We used high resolution Landsat imagery data to classify this. Okay, so in addition to that interactive mapping component, we, of course, City of Miami has a long history and community dynamics. And in community dynamics, we oftentimes also highlight some of the demographic characteristics. And that, again, is just ready to be plugged into your reports writing right away. And this is landscape, transportation characteristics, and very importantly, also the sources that we have used. So some of these sources, like Data USA, is a very interesting alternative to get demographic information as well. Okay, so I'm going to minimize this one now. Again, I ask you to pause a little bit, and I just have one more component to explain, and then we can play. So the third component is the public outreach strategy. And again, we automated this component a little bit. So we sorted out various different public outreach strategies as which ones are more suitable for which community. And then we incorporated the demographic data to help us to make that decision to see which ones are most appropriate. So we're gonna take a look at this project that we pretend we were working on. We're doing something north of Miami International Airport, and I already got my demographic reports, okay? And I got an idea of the composition of this area. And then I can just click on strategies. And this will tell you recommended public strategies for these census block groups add together. That's neighborhood we have picked. And you can adjust the cost bar and the time bar depending on your budget and depending how soon you need to take place. And the sorting will refresh itself. And notice that each one of them is given a cost score and a time score, and it tells you which tools are educational, promotional, or civic engagement. And many of them are suitable for all three, okay? So we do have a score here. The score here is really to say, based upon the demographic profile, which we have a formula here, I'll take you later when we go on live. And these strategies ranked the highest, and we recommend those strategies for this neighborhood. And these are some of the other strategies that you can use. So this is what it looks like, the cost and time. I explained that already. So as I mentioned, there is a demographic score. We basically used all these variables to give weight and identified this community has senior is one of the, highest, given the highest weight. And also people with no high school diploma. So based upon these two characteristics, you need to select an appropriate public outreach strategy to make sure our community with that characteristics can be work best for that community. And the method of how the score is developed can be accessed here as well. So now I just go to one of the strategies. Again, this strategy has been compiled and updated for over the years, and it roughly include these criteria, recommended target groups, description, when to use, cost and time, guidelines and suggestions, lessons learned, case studies, so on and so forth. You can also access this public outreach strategy directly from the web page without having to go to the interactive site if you do not need recommendation for a certain community, but rather you want to browse which strategies are available at one glance and then decide on your own.
And Jennifer, I'm going to interject here. Yes, and this is important because when I do travel, if I've traveled around the country in the past and given a presentation on this, I'm always impressed at how many people actually comes to this tool just for the public outreach strategies. Of course, it's not applicable, the other two components are not applicable to them, but to see the public outreach strategies, this has become kind of a library for various other MPOs around the country.
That's correct. Thank you, Elizabeth. So again, I can quickly go through a sample of using this strategy. Pretend that you have a budget, and you can look at which groups are more suitable and read the description. Look at the cost section. And if you only have 15,000 as a budget, this one may not be appropriate for you because this one tells you, it is very high, costly, in this case, for implementation. And it gives you the suggestions and guidelines. Lessons learned about this strategy. Now, as Elizabeth mentioned, if you, in your work, if you have encountered really good experiences and lessons learned or new strategy, please contact us so that we can enrich this library or this pool even better. And case studies. So this, again, I take just 1 minute to show the public involvement strategy on the main website. You can go directly to here, and you can sort this by different types of strategy. And then you can go to either one of them to, let's look at game and contests. And Elizabeth mentioned earlier that sometimes our low-tech ones still have great impact because it's that personal touch and interaction that oftentimes have impact on our community, particularly when we're working with seniors and they're not so familiar with this high tech, or they have language barrier. So this gives you a glance of what that strategy entails. Okay, so now it's your turn to play with this system, and I give you a real life scenario, and if you can use this tool and see how you navigate, and then I will, in the meantime, answer any questions and suggestions that you may have.
Jennifer, if I may,
Yes.
do you have the capability of going back into the system and sliding up and down the little tools, the green buttons in the strategies to show the cost and the time?
Oh, that's right.
Because that is, I know you glossed right over it, but I am going to be very proud at this point right now and gush and say that this looks so easy, but I can only imagine what has gone in the background to make this happen. And again, every year I have challenged Jennifer and her team to make it as easy as possible for someone like myself, who is just not technically savvy for GIS, to make it easy for us to access the information. So I asked her, can you create little buttons on the side that has time and cost that will scroll up and down and shift the strategies based on, if you have a lot of money or you don't have a lot of money, do you have a lot of time? And she's like, yeah, we'll figure it out. And sure enough, that's what she did. So you glossed right over that, Jennifer, but I really want you to show that feature. Thank you.
Yes, as I mentioned, I just selected that area north of Miami International Airport. So now I got my demographics and I go to my strategies. And you see it has ranked everything for me, and it tells me these strategies are the ones that probably will be most effective for that community. And as I adjust my dollar sign and
that's
my
what
time,
I'm talking about.
The list refresh itself, because one strategy may be great, but you just don't have that kind of funding to do that. So this is what helps us to, so this is automated in here. And as I mentioned, there's demographic weight that we calculated, and this is the formula that we used to calculate which demographic variable has most weight for this community, for us to decide which population we need to focus on. So I think that is a very useful tool for our decision making, because oftentimes even if we have all the demographic data right in front of our eyes, we may be reading one or the other, but this automatically sort of sort things out for us and then make us to see what's the most prominent demographic characteristic for that community based on the census or American Community Survey data. So that is another very useful. And I wanted to point out that today's presentation is available under the Help button, and in this tutorial, if you click on this, you can download the PDF version of my today's slides.
If I may add, Jennifer, for everyone in attendance, you can also go to the GoToWebinar side panel and click on the drop-down menu titled Handouts, and there you would be able to download this presentation as well. We also have another audience question. The
Yes.
question reads, good morning, is the geospatial data downloadable and where can we access the metadata?
That is a very good question. Most of the public domain data, let's pretend, the census boundaries or those type of data are publicly available, and you can probably use Miami-Dade County's GIS portal to download a lot of this boundary data. As I mentioned, the demographic data, when you go in there, you have an export function, so you can definitely extract the attributes for that geography and then incorporate into your own desktop GIS. Or these days, you can even do it online. And now there are other spatial layers, such as, for example, the bicycle facilities and the land cover maps. We have turned in those data also to Miami-Dade GIS, Parks and Recreational Services. In some cases, there are copyright-related issues simply because we have used commercial data for some of those land cover classification, and we still need to clarify with the vendor to see if a derivative product could be shared freely online. But I also wanted you to know that GIS Center has a geospatial data portal, and you can also go there. That's gis.fa.edu. You can also go there, and some of this data is available in this data portal as well. Okay. So did that answer your question? And if you have specific geospatial data needs, please just write to me directly.
So it did answer the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now, if you guys have time, I just want you to have a scenario. Let's take a look at the 8th Street. Let's pretend that we're doing projects and we wanted to reach out to the neighborhood that's north of FIU South Campus and in the vicinity of City of Sweetwater, and you need to extract the data and figure out the recommended strategies to reach out to those groups. So I wanted to just summarize some tips. Always, when you go to the demographic report tool, follow the help box, okay? And always click on a county first before you select other geography. And the block groups are the smallest Lego pieces for you to build a customized area. Okay, so if you are not working on a whole municipality or whole neighborhood, just go to block groups there and make your own area of interest. So any other questions?
I encourage the audience members to use the raise hand feature on the GoToWebinar side panel if you have any other questions. So far, I am not seeing any other questions, Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
So while we wait, if anybody has any other questions, I'd like to say that I think most of you have my email address, and you can always get in touch with me. Jennifer, what is your email address? So if you want to contact Jennifer directly for this, there you go, perfect.
Okay.
There she is, fujian@fiu.edu. If you do email Jennifer a question or something related specifically to this tool, just copy me. You can reach out to her directly, but just copy me so that I'm aware of the conversation. Thank you so much.
And once again, I want to thank everyone. And I also just want to take a couple of minutes to talk about what next. And in the current scope, we are trying to incorporate sea level rise into the interface, particularly focus on when the sea level rise from 1 to 8 feet, which road segments will be underwater for a given neighborhood. So as we are a transportation group, so we wanted to focus on that component. Once again, we developed zero rise tool since 2014 actually, and since then there are many other visualization tools out there, but few break down to granular neighborhood or street level, and we wanted to be able to attend that data visually and again in a user-friendly manner for your planning purpose. And in addition, we're going to incorporate some tourist visit pattern and data into this tool kit. And then in the future scope, we have a lot more coming. So if you have any suggestions of how we can grow from there, once again, contact me and Elizabeth.
Yes, and I want to add, Jennifer, that as many of you all know, the Miami-Dade TPO, we are all about the SMART plan. That layer, that information is going to be added and incorporated into this tool moving forward, as well as the ability for individuals to access first last mile to the SMART plan corridors. So that is going to be incorporated into this tool as well. Okay, so Ivan, do we have any more questions from anybody? Any raised hands?
I do. I'm going to unmute John so that he can provide his question.
Okay, thank you, Ivan.
John?
Thank you, Ivan. I just wondered, is it possible to overlay municipal zoning codes over this information and possible land use codes?
You are talking about the county's land use code, right?
Yes, particularly the municipal zoning codes over the areas of the block.
And you would like to see that to be incorporated in this tool, or you're interested in that data set?
Yes, it's very helpful as we're planning roads into areas to know what the the current zoning is, the current land use.
Yeah, that is an excellent suggestion. We can definitely take that in consideration.
Well, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. Elizabeth, you understand John's point, right?
Yes,
for example, the zoning, you could have commercial, single-family, duplex, multifamily, and et cetera, et cetera. And I do believe the zoning and land use codes will be very helpful for the transportation planning. Now, I understand we have the Florida land use code and the county land use code. So we probably will need to discuss to see which land use code that we will be using.
That's definitely something we can explore as we move forward. It's an ever-evolving tool. So yes, thank you, John.
Thank you.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say, it's been very, one of the challenges, which is interesting, is keeping this tool a public involvement tool. And that's ultimately what it is and as per my introduction, that's the reason this exists is from that FHWA report back in 2001, 2, and 3. And so, but there's so many fascinating ways we could expand this tool. Trust me, Jennifer has come to me with every single method and way that we could grow this tool. And we have actually had people who want to actually take over the tool to incorporate it into their tool. And it's been I've had to walk a fine line in keeping to its original intent. Versus, it becoming something completely bigger. But I don't know at this point, I don't know how much longer I can contain it. It's such a wonderful tool and it does so much. And but yes, thank you, John, so much. And it is great to hear your voice as well. Ivan, anybody else would like to speak?
Well, so far we don't have any other questions.
Okay. All right, Jennifer, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we close the session?
No, I just again want to thank everyone. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. Or right now, that phone number is my office number, of course. It will not work, but email will work best.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you, Ivan and Kevin, for being in the background for tech support. Thank you to everybody who has been a support for this tool over the many years. And Jennifer and I were talking that when we hit 20 years, we're going to have a big celebration. Being together and working on this, it has been an honor and a pleasure to work with FIU on this project. And thank you everybody for being here. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Friday and a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for your great determination and vision, most importantly. And thank everyone for participating and taking your time. Okay. I hope you learned something useful out of this session and will be able to apply them in your work.
Yes.
And good luck, everyone, and stay healthy.
Yes, yes. Ivan, did you want to put the poll up, or are we?
Yes, I'm doing that right now.
Okay. For those that are staying on, we're going to put up a poll. If you'd like to answer it real quick, Ivan, there it is in front of you. How likely are you to utilize the TOP tool for your transportation planning needs after this training? So if you'd like to participate in that, we'd appreciate it. And thank you again, everyone, for participating. It's good to see, to see your names. I know you're all there, so thank you very much.
I'm gonna give the poll one more minute.
Yes, I would just let it stay up, Ivan, until everybody leaves. Okay, that's good. No problem. We can wait a few minutes. Thank you.
Good morning, Erica. I see you. Maybe she does not have a question. So I'm gonna go ahead and close the poll so that we can see the results.
Okay, all right. I was gonna keep it up till everybody left, but go ahead. You can, let's see what the results are.
We still have 24 people on. So
Yeah.
maybe give them a couple more minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ivan's anxious to see the results. All right, so whoever is left, make sure you select, and so that I think maybe people may be sticking around to see the end of the poll. So I'm going to go till 11:20, and then at 11:20, Ivan, you can show the poll results.
Perfect. I think John has another question. I'm going to
Okay.
open the microphone now.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do you participate in this poll? What do I click on? Where I see the choices, but I can only click on your screen. I can't.
Right. You should be able to click on the choices themselves on your screen.
No, on my screen. Wow. I must
Are
be
you
missing something here.
your computer, John?
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to get rid of your screen to see it. Thank you very much. Thanks.
No.
And I'll email you separately. Thank you. And thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you, John. So good hearing from you.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and you ready, Jennifer, to see it?
Yeah, let's see it.
Let's see it. Okay. Oh.
Give me, yeah. Okay, awesome. So these are the results.
Very good.
So where do I must hide polls? I don't see them. What do I click on the share poll results?
Oh yeah, Jennifer, I see them right here. You don't see them on your screen? Oh, does Jennifer still have control? Or no, Ivan, you have control.
Would be let me.
I see them. We have 50. Oh,
Okay, now I see them. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's very good results.
Are you able to see it, Elizabeth?
no. I see. I just see a black screen. I saw it and then it went away. So Ivan, do you have complete control back?
I do. Not sure what happened there. I was sharing the poll results. Let me see if
Oh,
you
there they
should
are.
see it.
Jennifer, you see them?
I see them. That's
All right.
very positive.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Yes, good, good. You know, and we still have some people, attendees on with us, but I have to tell you honestly, and actually all the people that are on, hi everyone. I know we know everybody here on the phone. And I'm going to tell you that and Ann's Morris is calling me. She was just on. You know, out of bad comes good, and I know, Jennifer, we have always done this in person, but I think this is a great opportunity to get more people on the line and to expose
Yeah.
more people who just can't make it in person. And so, you know, this has forced us to do this, and I think it's fantastic. So I look forward to doing this with you more often. with different
Absolutely.
groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is a hidden treasure, like a little hidden treasure, you know, and a lot of people could use this when they're developing their
Another
plans.
positive thing that come out of COVID-19, right?
Yeah, yes. I'm trying to look for the positives.
Yes.
Trying to look at the positives. We have definitely all become experts in virtual platforms, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So something that is always not always been there, but has been kind of lingering in the background, has now come front and center. And ironically and coincidentally, our tool is is an online platform. I mean, it's an
Yeah.
online tool. So what better
Yeah.
way than to present this? I know you and I love the hands-on, seeing people in person, bringing them into the lab, and
Yeah.
we could try to do that. But
Yeah.
I think this is fantastic. So I'm really glad that everybody was able to join us today. And thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Ivan and Kevin. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you all.
All right. All right. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will talk later.
And have a nice weekend.
Yes, and a nice weekend. It's
Almost
great.
there. Yeah.
Almost there. All right. We will talk later.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful day and a beautiful weekend.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.